All right, let's talk about the absolute whiplash we've all been experiencing with Anthropic lately. I mean, just think about the timeline we are living in right now. A few weeks ago, everyone was losing their minds over Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5. We literally had the US Department of Defense declaring Anthropic a supply chain risk, the Trump administration trying to ban federal agencies from using their tech, and foreign nationals getting blocked from accessing these models because they were deemed too dangerous. Fable 5 was the elusive, restricted, hyper-smart model that people were ready to sacrifice their firstborn to get access to. And then, out of absolutely nowhere, on July 24, 2026, Anthropic just casually drops Claude Opus 5. No massive fanfare, just an API update. And the crazy part? Data is showing that Opus 5 is actually outperforming Fable 5 on major benchmarks, but it costs half the price and has way looser guardrails. So today we are going to dig into exactly what Opus 5 is, the massive breaking technical changes under the hood, how it actually compares to Fable 5 in the real world, and why the community is currently having a collective meltdown over Anthropic's very questionable marketing math. Let's start with the hard specs because there are some real changes you need to know about before you just blindly swap out your API keys. Opus 5 is running at $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output tokens. For context, that is the exact same price as the older Opus 4.8 and literally half the price of Fable 5, which sits at $10 in and $50 out. It retains the massive 1 million token context window. And I should note, 1 million tokens is both the default and the maximum. There isn't a smaller context variant floating around. But here is where things get technical and where you might actually break your production apps if you aren't paying attention. On Opus 5, Anthropic made thinking enabled by default. With the older 4.8 model, you had to explicitly turn thinking on by sending a specific JSON parameter. Now, the model just natively decides when and how much it needs to think on every single turn, and your main lever to control this is the effort parameter, climbing from low to medium to high to X high, and now introducing a new top tier called max. And you might be thinking, well, I'll just turn thinking off to save tokens. Actually, you can't always do that anymore. Anthropic introduced a heartbreaking change where if you try to disable thinking while your effort parameter is set to X high or max, the API will literally throw a 400 error in your face and crash the request. You can only disable thinking if you drop the effort down to high or below. This is a huge deal because the max tokens limit you set in your API call now acts as a hard cap on the total output, which means it includes both the invisible thinking tokens and the actual response text. If you don't adjust your max tokens to give the model room to breathe, it will just exhaust its context mid-thought and stop. There are also a couple of really nice quality of life updates for developers. The minimum threshold for prompt caching has been slashed in half. It used to be 1024 tokens on Opus 4.8, and now it's down to 512 tokens. So if you have shorter system prompts, you're suddenly going to start seeing cache hits and saving money without changing a single line of code. They also added mid-conversation tool changes. Previously, you had to send a fixed tool list for the entire session, but now you can dynamically swap tools in and out between conversation turns while still preserving your prompt cache, which is amazing for multi-agent workflows. So, how smart is this thing? Well, if we look at the Arc AGI 3 benchmark, which is notoriously difficult, Opus 5 just set a brand new high score. At high reasoning effort, it hit 30.2%, and at max effort on the older Arc AGI 1, it scored a ridiculous 97.5%. But benchmarks like Arc are kind of abstract, right? Let's look at something more practical. Artificial Analysis runs a proprietary benchmark called AA Briefcase, which tests agentic knowledge work. We're talking realistic, messy corporate tasks, digging through thousands of files, building spreadsheets, writing research reports. On this benchmark, Opus 5 completely dominates. At max effort, Opus 5 scores an ELO of 1720, crushing Fable 5, which sits at 1574. In fact, Opus 5 is so efficient that even its medium effort setting scores a 1470, which is just trailing behind OpenAI's GPT 5.6 Sol model running at max. But, and this is a massive one, you pay for this intelligence with time. Opus 5 is incredibly slow. To get that frontier level performance on an AA briefcase task at max effort, Opus 5 averages 36.2 minutes per task. Even on high effort, it takes over 25 minutes. This is because the model is engaging in insane amounts of back and forth tool use. At max effort, it's averaging 103 turns per task, compared to just 55 turns for Opus 4.8. It delegates to sub-agents, it verifies its own work unprompted, and it just grinds away at the problem. So, if you need real-time latency, you are going to want to stick to Sonnet 5 or drop the effort level down. Speaking of dropping the effort level, the current pro gamer move is actually running Opus 5 on low effort. Users are finding that Opus 5 on low is vastly superior to Sonnet 5 on high, and it's incredibly cost efficient. You get the deep architectural reasoning of the Opus class, but without the model spinning its wheels for 30 minutes. The other massive win for the community is the guardrails. You know, Anthropic released Fable 5 with extreme safety restrictions, especially around biology and cybersecurity. Fable would downgrade to Opus 4.8 if it even sniffed a high-risk prompt. But Opus 5, the guardrails are significantly looser. It's still aligned. Anthropic says it has the lowest rates of deceptive behavior to date, but it actually lets you do your work. Someone on Reddit literally had Opus 5 successfully decompile DLLs and crack the Securom protection on an old video game. And the AI was just like, sure bro, let me have at it. But this naturally leads to the big elephant in the room. If Opus 5 is cheaper than Fable 5, smarter than Fable 5 on most tasks, and actually lets you bypass the agonizing guardrails, what on earth is the point of Fable 5? People are genuinely confused. Just a month ago, the entire tech world was treating Fable and Mythos like they were digital nuclear weapons. Now, users are looking at Opus 5 and asking if Fable was just a rushed, expensive marketing stunt. And the differences between the two models are actually fascinating when you put them side by side. There was a brilliant post on Reddit where a developer asked both models to upgrade his 2D traffic simulator into a nice 3D version with total creative freedom. The results were night and day. Fable 5 built a functional, playable 3D simulator where you could clearly see the cars, the routes, and the logic working perfectly. It completely understood the assignment. Opus 5, on the other hand, went full cyberpunk. It built this gorgeous, complex scene with towering skyscrapers, dramatic lighting, and intricate visuals. But the actual simulator logic was entirely broken. You couldn't even see what the cars were doing. The community perfectly summarized it as Fable wise, Opus clever. Opus 5 gets distracted by shiny objects and overthinks the creative presentation, while Fable 5 rigorously sticks to the core utility of the prompt. The new workflow meta that developers are adopting is using Fable 5 as the architect to get the logic perfectly sound, and then bringing in Opus 5 as the flashy front-end builder to make it look incredible. Of course, no AI release is complete without some healthy community drama, and Anthropic absolutely delivered on that front. During the announcement, Anthropic released a chart showing Opus 5's benchmark performance against competitors. But as you can see, for agentic coding, Opus 5 got 53.4% against 53.5% for Fable 5, which is marginally lower. But the chart published by Anthropic shows Opus is better and highlighted the number. This is what we call typical Anthropic math and agentic mathing. When your AI company is releasing models that can supposedly reason at a frontier level, maybe double check the bar graphs in your marketing materials. There was also a massive wave of frustration regarding usage limits. Anthropic dropped this highly anticipated model, but they didn't reset the usage limits for pro users. So you had thousands of developers who had already burned through their weekly context window trying to get work done, suddenly staring at the release of Opus 5, and they couldn't even type a single prompt to test it out. And finally, we have to talk about Claude's new favorite personality quirk. You know how ChatGPT loves to use the word delve? Well, Opus 5 has developed an obsession with the phrase load bearing. No matter what you do, it will find a way to overly validate you. If you point out a bug, Opus 5 will respond with things like fair. You raise a solid point. You quietly notice something none of your peers would. Your mind is load bearing for our work. It is so dramatic and honestly a little unhinged. So, what is the final conclusion here? Is Opus 5 the greatest model ever made? For agentic, long horizon coding tasks where you can afford to let the model run wild for 20 minutes? Yes, it absolutely is. The fact that you get this level of performance at the $25 price point completely shifts the enterprise landscape. If you are doing highly regulated, hyper-complex logic routing, maybe Fable 5's rigidness is still worth the premium. But for the rest of us, using Opus 5 on low or medium effort seems to be the ultimate sweet spot for cost, speed, and raw intelligence. Just remember to check your max token limits, watch out for its weird unprompted self-verifications, and whatever you do, don't let it tell you that your mind is load-bearing. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Are you migrating your stacks to Opus 5, or are you holding out to see what OpenAI does with GPT-6? Personally, I think we might see GPT-6 before we see GTA 6, but who knows? Subscribe if you found this helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one.